I did coke, and that shit is phenomenal. Let me tell you something. I get Chris. That shit was fucking. I've never done coke. Who you gave me bump? No, Jamil.
No, it was Al. It was Al.
Sure.
But
I was right next to you.
It was Jamil's coke.
It was Jamil's coke. Yeah. Okay. Because I had a few. I had 3 bumps. But the next day was fucking
brutal.
It was like every bit of motivation was sapped from me. Like I couldn't even like untie a sneaker. It was so and I was like, this is not worth it. But in the moment, cocaine does exactly what I'm saying right now. I'm gonna sound like a fucking 13-year-old, but it does exactly what you want to do for a party. I get why it's the most popular party drug. It gives you energy, excitement, and confidence in an instant. Like. This party's good. Let's keep it going. I get why it's so successful. I get why the Colombians are fucking billionaires off of it. Every bit of it makes sense. Like they deserve every dollar they got. What are they? Not Castro. What's the guy's name? Escobar.
Yeah.
You deserve it all. Like, I understand why the CIA was like, let's not shut him down. Let's like work with him. Because it's great.
Let's funnel this into the city.
Yes.
This shit is fire, bro.
Yes. And then black people fucked it up by cooking it.
Do you have to fry everything?
It was great before. Okay, it was fucking great. But the cost the next day, I was like, I'm done after that.
And I knew the cost, and I'm standing right next to him as he's getting it from Al, and he looks at me, he's like, Vala, you gotta take one too. I'm doing it. I was like, bro, I know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Please don't make it. He's like, no. You're gonna do it. I'm like, fuck, all right. And then the next day, I'm like, God damn it.
I'm absolutely destroyed. The next day, it's literally the lowest I've ever been. I have no energy, I have no motivation, and then Chris walks into my RV. You can't imagine anything worse than that moment in my life. But yeah, it was a great drug.
I like ketamine. That was the first time I did ketamine.
Yeah.
And I think for that music and that vibe, it was fucking
The name is too intense for what it is.
Son.
What, dude? I felt a little relaxed, but not much after that.
Did you ever do it just on its own?
Yeah. Oh, no. I was always had like alcohol in my system or something like that.
Yeah, until I did it just on my own to feel, it just kind of like makes you a little melty and floaty, and you don't do a tiny bit, and then it'll do something, and no real hangover.
You also didn't do that much.
But I did a few of the snorts from the...
Nah, you gotta... If you had done the bumps, like... The rest of us did.
I would have felt it.
Yeah, you'd be floating.
And also, you had Adderall all the time.
And the Adderall's probably going to
counters everything. I stopped doing Adderall because it just ruined everything. Keeps you up. But.
Yeah, and that's at the heart. What's up? What's up, Casetta? Oh, we can keep going. Yeah, I don't know. I just like the Adderall and the alcohol. I have the energy. I already have, I think, good like vibes. I like to get after it. I like to have some fun. And then the alcohol makes everything smooth. Everything's easy. We want to talk to people, want to have a good time. And yeah, so that combination is great. The one problem is that you stay up so late, so you're drinking more, so you're paying for it the next day. So I do understand a drug where it kind of replaces the drinking. Yeah. Because I think the drinking is what you pay for, right?
That's what you pay for.
Okay. So that's on me then. But also, it's fun when you pop a fucking bottle of champagne on the sunrise and you share it, dude. Like,
we just have a bottle of tequila passing around and just having little sips for hours.
Oh, that was one of the best ideas. I don't know whose it was, and it might have been Chris' thing, but it was, we had like a bag that we could put like a flexible cooler. Right? And we just had ice and we had a bottle of fucking tequila. We had a bottle of champagne. What?
I told him before we left, I was like, yo, should we just get like a bag fill it with ice and just take it on the way? He's like, nah, you don't need that.
Dub was being such a Nazi inside Walmart. I didn't want to waste any more time.
Dub, really?
Do you know what I mean? He was a tyrant. He was like, God, get out. So I was like, we gotta get out of here before Dub loses his mind. Like I was like, can I get a few trinkets for myself? He's like, there's no more trinkets. Like, pack the RVs immediately. Right?
I bartered with an employee of Walmart until we were leaving for his neck air conditioner. Because I didn't have time. You psycho.
Okay, we had to get in. But yeah, the ketamine was kind of like, I don't know, I didn't feel the mushrooms that much either.
Mushrooms, I didn't.
Yeah, I never felt the mushrooms.
I didn't feel that much mushrooms.
Then
the Molly I did not like.
Oh yeah.
I did not like
That
our
shit
Molly.
fucked us up.
Yo, when Val and I did the Molly, it completely, I didn't feel euphoria, and it completely like removed me socially.
We're sitting in the corner of the
Yeah.
tent, and we're just like, yo, what the fuck is going on right now?
Bro, and then
Oh yeah.
the Tesla came out.
Tesla night.
Now, let me tell you this. There's only one thing that could help from Chris walking into my Burning Man without noticing, and Akash breaking his foot the second he got on a bike. And it being my lowest day ever. There's only one thing that could change that and flip that around. And it is a chemically engineered euphoria known as Tesla.
Yeah.
An ecstasy pill branded. And it is, at one point, I'm being honest with you, at one point I grabbed Dove and I go, I feel it in my calves. I hugged Dove. I go, it's in my calves. We all took a quarter of the pill, right?
Yeah.
I wish we had it right now. I wish we had it
Let's
right
run
now.
it.
I would do, we gotta do a pod on that Tesla.
We can do one episode.
We have to do a pod.
One Tesla.
Bro, we're just gonna be sucking each other's dicks.
Fucking Mark's gonna give us all monkey punches.
Who wants a monkey punch? I'll tell you I got
I
some
don't have it.
Son, oh my, did y'all not, was that not fucking
That was
amazing?
my best night. That's the best I felt. I was like, holy shit.
What night did you take it?
I think we took it same night.
The
No,
night
you were gone by the time I got there.
That's
No, it
right,
was
you took it the night before.
It was Wednesday night.
Yeah, the night I lost my fucking phone on the playa.
Oh, that's right.
The night I
that
lost my
sucks,
phone on the
dude.
playa, it was the best night. And then when I got back to the camp, I realized my phone was missing and everything just came crashing down.
Whose ass was it? What dude did you fuck and leave your phone inside of him?
Yeah. Shit on my story, bro.
You wanna know the crazy thing? We're in the RV and we're like, how are we gonna find this fucking phone? Can we do find my phone, whatever? Like, how the hell are we gonna do this? And then all of a sudden, Hamed, who's in our camp, busts open the door, incoherent, probably hasn't slept for 2 days, and just went, Vala, I found your phone.
Yeah. I felt like the Oracle, son. So I was with Vala when he lost
You were
it.
dressed like the world.
I was with Vala when he lost it. I was like, yo, Vala, I'm telling you, you're gonna get your phone back. He had
I was
nothing, he had
getting so
nothing
mad,
on his
bro.
phone to like, for somebody to know it was his shit.
Yeah.
Well, actually, your name is on it.
Yeah,
but
but it has Vala on it.
yeah, but out of everybody who's there, like that one person who finds it's gonna know it's
80,000
his
people.
shit. Son, so I'm like, yo, Vala, I'm telling you, the playa provides, bro. You're gonna get your phone back. I said it so confident. When he got the phone back, I was like, I fucking told you.
I told you, bro. I had a 50% chance of being right.
No, not 50. To be fair to Al, ain't no 50% chance you get your phone back on the playa. Think of all the places you go, big ass playa.
I'm just saying other things you
Yeah.
could say is
Yeah.
either you don't get it back or you do.
But that's and then what everybody says. Nobody's like, man, that shit gone, bro. Like, nobody ever is like, hey, I'm telling you, dog. I'm telling you, dog, ain't even worth looking. No, that guy don't exist.
I was saying that. I was like, here, get
You think
your
that's
phone.
the
But that's the most annoying part because everyone that found out I lost my phone, they're like, bro, the playa provides.
Yeah,
I was like,
it
yo,
does,
shut
bro.
the fuck up.
It does, bro. It does. It's a magical place.
Oh,
When
fuck.
people win the Super Bowl, you got to go to Burning Man. Fuck Disney World.
Yo, facts, bro.
That's where you go.
Okay.
my
yeah.
biggest fuck up was smoking weed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did not
I
enjoy
didn't
that.
touch weed
Did
out.
not enjoy that at all, but I had to do it.
To go to sleep?
No.
The edible to sleep was great.
No, because
That
I
was
was
the only time.
at one of the shows. I love dancing, by the way. I didn't really. I always knew I loved dancing, but like I danced for like 8 hours,
Oh, yeah.
just like sober, just having a great time.
Yeah.
And then I'm standing there, just not really paying attention, and I'm like near the front. It was like just an awesome like show, and then I look over and I just see like some guy's elbow, and then I look up, and it's Dwight Howard,
Yeah.
and then he hands me a joint, and I was like, I'm all right. I'm in the rotation. Like, I'm not going to not take a joint from Dwight Howard. That's Superman, bro. So,
We were at Casbah, which is one of these parties that like starts like in the morning.
Was that a Blondish party? Shouts
No,
to DJ Blondish.
yeah,
by
the
way.
fucking greatest DJ ever. We're gonna talk about her.
That
in a
was the
minute.
best parties, by the way,
We're
Casbah.
but Casbah
No,
fucking
Casbah
crushed
in
it.
general.
They killed it.
Yeah.
And it's just me and Mark, and this is like the last stop before you go home. It's probably 10:30, and you know Mark's from Orlando. And we go and we walk up, and then Mark sees Dwight Howard. And Mark is fucking high, and the fucking Tesla's still in the system and everything. And Mark goes, whoa, dude. That was my hero.
Yo, that shit is true though.
I just saw my hero, dude.
That's Superman, bro.
That's Superman.
When I was a kid, I was seeing him on the highway, and I'm like, yo, the fucking Superman's right there. Like, that was the guy. I was at, like, Game 7 when he made, like, the game-winning shot, like, all the way up in the nosebleeds to, like, win the fucking Eastern Conference. It was insane.
Yeah.
And then he's just, like, chilling right there.
Right there. And then the next day, he's passing.
And then I hit it, and then immediately, like, I'm dancing, and then I'm just, like, so self-conscious.
Yeah.
Just, like, immediately anxious. Yeah. And, like, everyone's dancing. It's, like, a big vibe. And then, like, I kind of get, like, a little pocket of space, and I'm like, oh, man, like, do these people not like me or something? Yeah. Oh, man. At a rave with 20,000 people all dancing.
Well, that's why, because I'm obviously in the trailer early. He comes up to me, he's like, hey, man, can you, like, tell I'm high? And I'm like, everybody's high, dog, except me. Why you, who cares? It's the fucking burn. And he's like, I just don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to look stupid. You know what I mean? I just don't want to look dumb.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it felt. I was just like, that's another thing I realized. I don't like doing anything alone. Like the idea of like even just drinking alone, anything that's not with other people, it makes me so uncomfortable.
Interesting.
Like anything. So I'm like, so just even just smoking and being alone, even though I'm with all these other people, I'm not with anyone else I know. So I'm just like hanging out. I'm like, oh fuck, like I smell, or like I'm being weird, and like people are freaked out, or like I'm like dancing too much.
After you're high, or
like right after I smoked, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing I did. I just smoked, and I was just sitting there like, all right, how are you? Like, how would a cool guy dance? Yeah. And I'm like, they wouldn't do the robot. Why am I doing the robot right now? And then I'm like, don't think anything bad. And then I'm like, oh, I'm fucking, someone's probably died in my family. And I'm like, why am I thinking about that? And then I'm like, thoughts, I can't control them. They're all happening at once.
Yeah.
And then it went away after an hour. And I was like, sucks, bro. And then I have my camel pack. I'm like, I'm gonna drink some water. I'm sure some water will help. Grab it, take a big sip, dust. just pure dust. It was just on the ground. The fucking nozzle was in the dirt. Just breathe it all in. Like my tongue is burning. Imagine cottonmouth plus also just inhaling fucking 9/11 ash. It's just like filling my lungs.
Jesus.
I was like, oh. And then Dwight's like, sick, right? I was like,
dude, it's so true, man. I had a experience like that. It was with mushrooms, but like where I was just in an insecure vacuum. Yeah. There's just one thing after another. This wasn't this time. This was, I think, my first time. Maybe I went. Maybe it was the second time. But it can be brutal. And when you have your friends around, they can kind of like cover you a little bit. You know, there's some love. You know, there's some connection right there. But being like completely alone and that starts, yeah, I stay away from the weed. The edibles to pass out were clutch though. Yeah. You know, you just kind of need that like night, you know, light switch.
Oh, I was going to sleep easy.
Yeah. Really?
I didn't have a single issue going to sleep.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Dove was generous enough to give you the room with the most AC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that last day just going alone was the most fun though.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he would like that.
We all want to hear about that.
Yeah. What happened the last day?
It was just dope. Like I just would just bike around. I just didn't sleep and just bike to every little thing I could and just talk to as many people as I could. And like, yeah, it was awesome. It was like the biggest thing is just play. It's just like a bunch of adults. The other thing I thought was cool is the average age is probably like 34.
Oh, it's
That's
much
the
older.
best part.
Yeah, there's not all the fucking kids around.
There's a lot of like maturity. A lot of people that like know how to handle themselves. A lot of like
competency. Because it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's not, the kids can't afford it. Yeah. And
it's also a big commitment.
Huge commitment.
Also, you don't need it if you're in college. Your whole life is Burning Man.
No, but like Coachella, like the barrier to entry, it's like you get a ticket and then you share. Like I remember doing it for the first time. It's like 18 people in a 3-bedroom. Like you know, it's the least barrier to entry to go in. And here it's just like there's planning. People are responding. I mean, like you said,
it takes organization, and also I would say like it's very different from college because college it's the opposite. Like you're reliant on so many people. The school has got your insurance. They've got your housing. Your parents got your money. They got, and every party is all this. It's like with this, you have to search it out. Like you have to get your own fucking water. You have to get your own RV. You have to fix your own fucking problems. And I think adults are more apt to do that. And then kids, I think there are kids that go there for the party. Like there's all these like model chicks that are there, and they're there just for the party pretty much. And then hopefully they get something out of it. I think it's very hard to be there for an extended period of time and not fall into it. And I know we said this before, but I'm curious your guys' feeling on it after going. Like, do you see how when you remove money and you give access to everybody, like how you create other hierarchies?
Yeah, it's very subversive.
Yeah.
Like, because you're thinking going in, like, oh, I'm gonna like kick it with like these hot models, and people are gonna be dressed so cool, and like
Right.
I'm gonna be hanging with them. And then you realize like the most fulfilling part is like the random guy that like works there.
Yeah.
That like this is like his 20th thing, and he's like showing you a cool spot.
Yeah. And no one works there.
Yeah, I guess not works, but like the volunteers are like some random dude that's just been around.
Yeah.
And he's just like down to chop it up.
I mean, we had this awesome moment. We were in this so we're at this tent, we're at this camp that had like a huge dance floor, then a bar, and then it had like a side thing that almost looked like a clothing store. And then there was a rack of clothes that were pretty like densely packed. And if you separated them, you could go into this room where the ceilings were maybe like waist high. Waist high? Mm-hmm. And you had to like go through the clothes. And it was like this almost like opium den vibes. And we were all in there. And we were
That was a Molly night.
That was a Molly night,
Yeah.
but it was like, it was so cool. We were vibing. We had met up with some random people that we had met up with before. And one of the dudes was like an ex-pastor and that had like given up the church, and him and his wife were there. And we were just talking about like their experience and what was going on and how like there's still a lot from the church that like he really liked. And we asked him if he would do like a prayer for us. And he hadn't done it in like years. And it was like really cool. We all like held hands and he had said this cool prayer. And he had this like moment where he was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I kind of needed that. And I'm like, that's the most random thing that you get in Burning Man.
Yeah.
That saved us. Though.
Yeah, it was great.
The prayer saved us. Because Andrew
You
and
pray
I
for
were,
your phone back.
Andrew and I were just like super low.
Dude.
And just completely checked out. And that happened. And then we were like, oh shit,
Off to
let's
the
go.
races, bro.
Yeah, and then we just went.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those kind of moments are just, I don't know. I just think it's so cool what people can create, especially when they're in like this safe place to be the best version of yourself. I don't think that this is realistic outside of there, but I think one of the motivational things for me is it's like the feeling that I have here, how can I recreate that at times? How can I like recreate that at one of our shows? How can we recreate it through the pod? How can we recreate it in these other parts of life? And I think you can tap into it. I think for it to be that extended feeling, you need drugs and a community that has these guidelines and all these creative people in the same place that are just looking to kind of give. But you can't take parts of that and make them exist in the
Yeah, the
default
drugs
way.
I was thinking is like, you know, they say alcohol is social lubrication.
Yeah.
Drugs are like Burning Man lubrication.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there are people who go every year who are sober. I didn't meet them, but I also wasn't there that long.
Yeah.
But
And in an RV the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah. But I think it helps you enjoy everything and be like a part of it.
Yeah.
The drugs.
I actually met a bunch of people that said they were sober.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is cool. And I'm trying to lean in and be into it. And I was like, this is great. I'm really glad I came.
Yeah.
But I wasn't feeling the thing. Maybe it would have happened in a few more days.
I think it takes a little bit, like, you know, I think it takes 2 or 3 days if it's your first time to get caught up. Because, like, for me, like, guilt works in the opposite direction. You know, I don't know which direction it works in, but, like, there can be a guilt that you feel when you're getting too much, right? And I think that's what inspires so much giving there. It's like you see all these people that put all this time into making these art cars and creating these nights and these DJs and everybody doing this thing and nobody's making money. And at least I start thinking like, fuck, what can I do? How can I help out? Well, there's a guy next to me. He looks like he might need some water. Hey, man, you want some water? There's a guy over here, and they need fucking, a drink. Or maybe you want to just give them a bottle. Maybe you want to just give them a piece of clothing because they think your jacket's really cool. You're like, you know what? You fucking take it. Like, for me, that just starts to like set the wheels in motion. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing. Is like I wish I went alone earlier. I wish I was just there longer.
Yeah.
And like having a thing to give quicker.
Yeah.
Because it like. If you don't, like, I don't know, I think people are using, maybe some people, I don't know, are like using drugs as a way, as like a conduit to connect to people when a gift would be almost like equally or more effective. Like once like we were at like some day thing and I just had like a spray bottle that someone gave me and I was just like spraying people down.
Yeah.
Probably Chris.
Yeah, probably someone, I don't know. I was just like spraying people, like it was so hot. And then just through that, people were like, that was a great connection.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that is like I appreciated that moment more than like any type of like substance-induced relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I can agree with you on that. Substances, bro. Because you know it's chemicals that are creating this feeling. I was talking to Uyeda about this. Like, you're aware that the chemicals are creating the feeling, but the feeling is real.
Yes.
What you feel, the love you feel from someone and to someone and for someone is real. And the way that you're connecting with them is real. And the things you're saying to them. And sometimes you need that, like, extra push to tell someone how you really feel about them. You know, like, existing in the default world for whatever reason, like, and I hate even calling it that, but that's just what we're called, a non-Burning Man, the environment might not be conducive for you to just fucking hug your friend and say, hey man, you're the shit, I love you, this is awesome, because you're also going, man, how many things do we need to do? You know what I mean? How many business deals are on the table? What can we negotiate? What do we need to fix?
They'll think I'm weird if I say this. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But that's like the practice thing. Like if you're able to like use an experimentation or like a drug experience as a way to practice how to behave outside of that.
Yeah.
I think people do that with mushrooms. Like we'll have an experience and be like, oh, I have a different perspective on how I see myself and my role in society, and now I'm going to behave that way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that to me is where it's the most beneficial.
That is an interesting thing you hear about drugs in general. If you watch the Carlin documentary, his whole career changed because of one acid trip.
Really?
He was like this clean comedian doing those 50s kind of like corny, I guess, jokes.
Yeah.
And then he had one acid trip and he was like, I'm a complete fraud.
Yeah.
None of this is real and none of this is who I am. And then he became that kind of like anti-system comic or whatever off of one acid trip.
Yeah.
And I hear that about shrooms. Like, oh, I got high off shrooms one time and I had this big revelation.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you'll hear that from drugs sometimes.
Hell yeah.
Life-changing stuff.
It's on music. all these bands and shit, they were doing psychedelics. They were creating some cool things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
I think that's like the intentionality thing. Like if you're just going into it to be like, yo, how can I like take and have fun and like be filled up from like this thing? I feel like it's less beneficial, at least for me, than going and being like, okay, what can I learn from this experience and then apply to the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Because if it's only like predicated or like it can only be accessed through a substance, then you're dependent on the substance. And then I feel like that's where you start like spiraling.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
can take those lessons where like you're on fucking Tesla or E or whatever, and you're like, yo, I feel so much love for these people, and I'm telling them how much I love them. And now when I'm in real life, I'm gonna kind of get over that insecurity because I didn't have it then. So I'm just gonna push through the insecurity and say
Yeah.
it anyway. And
Yeah.
now I'm able to channel what like the substance gave me, but in everyday life without being dependent on it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I did. Like I
Yeah.
went in going, I was like, hey, I want to smile at people more.
Yeah.
Talk to strangers more. And just be loving. So it's like I was just walking up to strangers, giving them a compliment.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
something I like,
Yeah.
whatever. Either good energy or I like that coat or whatever.
And that's the chemicals thing you're talking about.
Hug, smile, and
That
just,
feeling thing is real.
Yeah.
You're feeling those real feelings.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. I just think drugs are also fun.
Yeah. No, yeah, of course. Yeah.
But no, I hear what you're saying. I had that experience with Molly the first time, and I've told the story a million times, but like seeing what happens when you're full and like what you want to do with it, and you just want to like give. You want to give to your friends. And I was like, oh, that's really cool to know like humans are capable of that. So it's like, how do we fill up? Drugs aren't the only way to fill up. There's other ways to fill up. You know, some people fill up through the gym, or some people fill up through achievements, some people fill up by helping others. But getting to the point where you're full, knowing what you do after that is great. Like for me, like complimenting people is not something that's very difficult for me. I actually think it's like one of the most rewarding things about having like some level of like I don't want to say fame, but like one of the coolest things, let's just call it fame. One of the coolest things about being famous is I can compliment people and be nice to people and be kind to people, and they don't think that I want anything from them. So it's allowed me to be genuinely nice to people. And it's just appreciated. Instead of when someone doesn't know you, especially in New York, and they walk up and they're like being nice, you're like, fuck is this guy, yo? What does he want? What do you what's your game here? What's your I get to just be like, hey man, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that fucking jacket. And then someone goes, oh shit, Schulz, what up, man?
Yeah,
Oh,
no one thinks
thanks.
you're trying to steal their jacket.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can I ride your bike?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, yeah, of course. Yeah, right.
And I feel like Burning Man creates that environment. Maybe it's induced by the drugs and maybe it's induced by the other things.
a lot of things, yeah.
But like, it creates the environment where there's a reduction of cynicism, and you get to, and Uyeda said this brilliant, he's like, you're coming to a place where there's like almost no cynicism, right? So like, you're taking everything at face value. If somebody comes up to you, a dude comes up to you and you're like, dude, your outfit's fucking sick. He means it.
Yeah, or if someone grabs your phone Like you trust, like, oh, they're not about to run off.
No.
They're gonna take a picture of me or something.
Yeah,
like,
because it's not take.
Yeah.
Like, everybody there is in give mode, and when people are in give mode, it's not weird when someone gives you something and asks for nothing. So if it's a compliment, where you will take somebody's phone, you think that they're actually gonna give you something out of that experience, and it just totally like resets your mind.
yeah.
It was interesting to see, like, you see people walk up to you in the streets over here all the time, and it's just like, you know why they're coming up. They're appreciative of like the comedy, the podcast, and all of that, and you almost have like the same type of reaction. You're appreciative and you give it right back.
Yeah.
Seeing the people that would like, they would always sneak up on you at Burning Man, be like I remember one girl going, well, I didn't know you were a burner, and you're sharing a different reaction with your fans in this case that were like, they probably were like, oh shit, he's giving me more than like what that interaction would normally be, because you actually really want to know about them. So I saw that with you a lot on there. That was actually kind of cool. And then I was front row seat to this fucking glowing orb that is Alex Media on the playa. Insert video of him head to toe sequence. There was a day, it's from sunrise over, where, and you said this before, I think it's before this started happening all over the place, where you were like, if you feel good, you look good. And he was head to toe sequence, and people would just walk up to him like verge of tears, like, what is this ball of energy that I'm walking up to? And Al just like would give him the biggest hugs while he was still dancing. It was the craziest day. It was from like
the best hugs.
Sunrise through that
Al
day.
gives the best hugs.
So I was loving it. I especially loving saying hello to every single black person I saw.
Yeah. Bro, I almost started doing
Every
that.
black person,
I almost started doing it because I was with you when you were doing it.
It was so many black people.
So many more this one. I was very happy about that.
But the first hello was never like in person. You have to see it from like at a distance. It's 10 feet away, and you see Al, you see the black person, they look at each other, and they're just like, and then they kind of like do this little dance bounce to each other and just hug.
Oh, so fun.
I had such a fulfilling experience there, man.
What was your favorite party?
Favorite party? I don't know. Because it's all kind of a blur to me. Because I don't really care about the DJ or whatever the case.
Yeah.
I don't really necessarily like that music. I love it now.
Bro.
But
I've been
I didn't
listening
like it
nonstop.
before. I kind of needed the drugs to even like enjoy that type of shit.
Yeah.
But honestly, no. My favorite things were the one-on-one experiences I had with people.
Yeah.
That was the favorite part. Like one time, me and Vala, we walked off. We went to the Man and like watched the sun come up. And it was just a joyous moment, like arm in arm, just like watching the sun come up, vibing, connecting. Like that was beautiful.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. That's the best part. I think it's just the personal connections. And whether it's dancing with somebody at a party and like, or just like listening to a story or listening to like a difficult thing they had to go through.
And the anonymity is so cool. Talking to someone, yo, what's your name? They don't tell you their government name.
Yeah.
They tell you apply a name.
I can't get on board with
I need apply a name,
The thing that's cool.
My only cynicism.
It feels kind of corny, but the cool thing about it is that this person, and I'm now talking, this happened to me like multiple times, where someone tells me not their name, and then that indicates to me, oh, they're like enjoying being a different person, being kind of anonymous.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to ask them really deep questions, and we're getting into this crazy conversation, and then at the end of it, there's no like, hey, let me keep your info. It's just like, this ends now.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like symbolic of like burning all the art. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, this conversation is burnt forever. Like this relationship is never gonna happen again. You just purged all this, and I told you stuff I've never told anyone before.
Yeah.
And then we're just walking away, and that's the end.
Yo, it's You're living in that moment, which is the idea of this, right? That's why they're like,
but
don't
there's
take
a
any
catharsis
pictures
to
and
like
shit.
to getting stuff off your chest. They're like, yo, I can't even tell like my family this, but like I'll tell you because there's no stakes.
Son, people be telling, bro. I was at the bathroom. I'm waiting to go to the bathroom, and this guy next to me, and I'm like, "How you doing, my man?" And he's like, "I'm good." And he goes, and if I complain, no one would listen, or something like. There's a saying like,
yeah.
And if I complain, no one would listen. And I'm like, I'd listen. What you want to complain about? He goes, no one cares about your complaints, And I go, no, man, if you have something to complain about, I'll listen. I'm gonna listen to you right now. I'm like, this is the gift I'm gonna give to him. He goes, I just want to die. Son, now, I gotta be honest with you. I had to go to the bathroom so bad, son. And someone came out the urinal, and I was just like, hold that thought, my G.
You gotta keep it together for 2 minutes.
This is one gift I ain't giving today.
He came out, guy was gone.
Literally.
What happened? There was one death at Burning Man in 2022.
But he had points or what?
He didn't convince me. He didn't say much, but nah, I didn't talk to him after that. To be honest.